Hi there survivors. Since the last update, there have been important changes to UNDAWN's combat system. Experienced players have probably already noticed them, so this information is more for beginners. As you remember from my recent video, the damage dealt to the enemy's head could not be critical and depended only on the weakness damage parameter. Now headshots on mobs and bosses can be critical, which is good news. But regarding player fights, I still cannot confirm the possibility of dealing critical damage to the head. I watched about 30 minutes of footage frame by frame, and still did not find a single valid headshot that could be considered critical. Then my friend and I did a little test in Blockade. I fired about 30 headshots in succession, but none of the shots were critical. At this moment my critical hit stat was 54%, while Leroy's critical resistance was 35.4. This means that headshots to players still cannot be critical hits, so nothing has changed in that regard. The second important change is that bosses now take the same damage to any weak point, even to the head. You can easily check this in person. The only difference is the group of armor-piercing stats, which, as you know, are different for each part of the enemy's body. In practice this means that we must take into account the armor-piercing stats of the head and torso in order to inflict maximum damage on bosses. Shooting in the head will be more effective if your head armor-piercing is the highest among other stats, and only in this case. Another important change concerns the mechanics of how healing works in UNDAWN. Now the skill strength stat no longer affects it. Instead, the effectiveness of healing depends entirely on the damage units, percentage damage, and percentage-based damage parameters. As for the skill strength stat, there will be a separate video about it, where we will try to find out how effective it is, and in what cases it should be developed purposefully. The last change I would like to note is that the aim assistance function on the computer has become almost useless. Now the effect is so slight that it is difficult to notice. What this means to us is that the value of low recoil weapons has increased exponentially, and we can actually see how experienced players are starting to use submachine guns more often. This Friday when we played camp competition against Mercenary, most of the players on the battlefield were armed with the Bison, and for now, that's all. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you learned something new. I'll try to keep you up to date on any important changes to UNDAWN's mechanics. As always, happy hunting survivors, and bye.